Hello everyone. I am making this video for week 3 as we sort of begin the process of moving from learning to study the Bible, learning some of the practices of observation, to now what are we going to do with the scripture as we begin to understand it? And that's going to involve a methodology that we'll be learning this week. And that methodology is basically you'll listen to a couple of podcasts and some videos about learning to identify a central, basic, sometimes called the big idea of any passage. When I teach this here at the university, I'll often refer to this methodology matter as, first of all, finding what we're going to call the subject. And you'll hear this and in the recording on September the 7th that I have posted. And that September 7th is just a recording of a class some time ago. That we're attempting, as we read the passage, to understand the big idea, the basic idea, the thesis statement, the essential truth that comes out of the passage. Now, this assumes that any passage or any article, you'll do some practice on this, reading newspaper articles or articles online, that any article or text, paragraph that makes any sense has a central idea, a basic idea that you ought to be able to state in one breath. So I want you to be very alert to this, that we're going to be working at how or what is the basic idea of the passage that we're studying or reading. Then the second part of that, once you establish that, then we're looking at what we call the complements. And you'll understand the question that you ask after listening to the recordings. But really the complements are sort of like the supporting information for the big idea. Or in a newspaper article, it's all the details in the article that relate to the topic idea or the big idea that's the headline. For instance, if you read a newspaper article that said governor funds educational initiative, you would expect then that in that article there are the details or the matters about the governor, who the governor is, what state the governor's from, the funding initiative in education, how much it was, in what areas is it going. So this kind of relationship between the subject, the big idea, whatever is the thesis, basic idea of a passage or a newspaper article, and then the complements, which are the details, the supporting material that are about that big idea. This again is the structure of a newspaper article. Now what we're going to be doing is learning to try to determine or find the big idea, the thesis statement, the subject, we'll call it different things, of that passage, and then how all of the details of that passage fit or support or explain the big idea. So I'd encourage you, go read a newspaper article out of a physical newspaper. I don't know how many of you still read the newspaper. I do. Or online, an article that has a basic, if you will, title. It's not really a title, it really is a synopsis of what this article's about. That's the big idea, that's the subject, that's the thesis statement. And then all the materials in that article support, defend, explain in more detail what that big idea or thesis statement or subject is about. I hope this is helpful as you listen to some recordings and look at some videos about this matter, because this really is the essential, if you will, basis of our methodology of learning to preach in an organized kind of way. Remember in the book we read, Why Johnny Can't Preach, the author said lots of times that when they got through listening to a sermon, they didn't know what it was about. If we adhered to this method, where we have a central, single idea, the big idea, the subject, the thesis statement, that is supported now by the details of the text in terms of all of the ensuing material, people will be able to leave knowing once we announce our subject, they'll be able to know how the material fits. So I just wanted to do this kind of as an introduction as you get ready this week in week 3 to prepare to begin to work through the methodology. If you have any questions, please be sure and email me, and we'll discuss it.